So, all right. Problem is I had already changed DDL to update.
Yeah.
It needs to stay on create once just to get the table created and the data inserted, and then you can switch it back to update, and then it won't kill your user every time you restart. So that was the problem. So let me then show you. I'll switch it back to update in case I run it again. There we go. So all the users stuff is protected, right? So I've requested this access token. Let me rerun it. Okay, so now I've got a up-to-date access token for the request. So here's the request I sent in, right? Username Jeff, password, right? And that's what's in the database. And now if I want to request something, so if I try to get user, right, it should fail, right, unauthorized. So now I've got a 500 or 401, sorry, for that request because I didn't have a token on there. And just to keep from going down the wrong rabbit hole again, so get all users or something. Yes. So now I'm going to add to the header the authorization token. All right, and so this needs to be the string that I got back earlier and then lost track of. Let me go back and get that. I there it is. Let me run this. This is where learning how to chain these things would be very handy. All right, so there's the token, and then get user now. I'm going to send that in. Did it have quotes or anything? Nope. Okay. And then, yeah, I could do that, but I don't care. All right, let's try this. Again, this. I'll zoom in a little more. All right, there it is. Okay, so what happened was I did the Euro request, right? So that went to the built-in endpoint OAuth token, passed in saying we're going to do a password grant type, passed in the username and password over HTTPS, so that's cool. Sent using the basic authentication for client and secret. Okay, and then it verified that, stored in memory the token stuff, and then sent it back. You can also set it up so that it stores the OAuth stuff in a JDBC database, so that if you've got multiple servers with a load balancer or something, then that'll still work. And also, if your server goes down and reboots, that state's not lost. The user can, reconnect without too much grief. Okay. Any questions on this? Do you want me? Should I go back through all the stuff I changed real quick, just to make sure we have all the files, at least at a high level, that we're talking about?
Did you push it up?
Yes, I did.
It says push failed.
Oh, crud. All right, I'll do it again. Thanks, good check. All right. So I created a config directory, right? And in here I have a web service config. I'll minimize this stuff so we have a little more room to see, right? And this is basically just setting up the security. Okay, we're turning on security. It's just a configuration thing, right? In years past, you would put this in an XML file. And then we did a resource config, which basically says, configure any HTTP request that matches anything under the user's path for authorization for any request, and they have to be authenticated. Okay, and then the OAuth 2 config is similar to that, but it's basically setting up the client authentication requests, right, and authorization. So we're going to say for this client corp, right, use this secret, okay, which is just the word secret, and allow it read write scope, and use the allow them to grant tokens for password or refresh for all resources named resource. Okay. This could also be configured in a database, right? So you could have, as you get more clients on, you just add to that table. Okay. So let's see, it's harder because, oh yeah, and then for the user, I had the user now implements user details, which is the user details for security that's built into string. It expects that implementing that interface. I have the password, username, expired, locked, expired credentials, and enabled set up. Okay, and I'm not doing anything with authorities right now, but you could have groups and things like that set up. And that's see. Yeah, and I didn't have to do anything particular, to the controllers, right? They're set up because the gadgets isn't mentioned in there, but user is, right? That's set up kind of separately. Okay.
Where is it actually checking against the password?
That happens basically in a built-in interceptor, right? It's going to check well, I'm sorry, let me take it back. It's going to check for the valid token in the interceptor for these, but the username and password has to be gotten by a token request. So this path to get the token, OAuth token request here, right? That where it's going to be HTTP localhost 8080 OAuth token is where it checks the password, and then the configurer, right, is configurer adapter is going to check the authentication, and oh, that's what I missed. Thank you, good question, because the user security service, I forgot to pull that up, right, is going to use the user repository found by username. So all it's going to do is load user details by username and look at that and try to check that encrypted password to make sure the hash matches the password hash that was sent in. So this is all done like behind the scenes. Sound good? All right. Yeah, this is a tough one. So there was a lot, but it was like you had to do all of this before you got anywhere. That's part of the frustration with configuring security is you've got so much to do, and then we're pretty much done. All you got to do is decide what you want to protect with it, and that's it.